I'd like to call to order the Proctor City Council meeting for Tuesday, February 18th, 2025. Could you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll perform roll call at this time. Councilor Benson?
Present.
Councilor Peterson?
Present.
Councilor Johnson?
Present.
Councilor DeWall?
Present.
Mayor Ward is also in attendance. Please let the minutes reflect all others in attendance. Looking for a motion to approve the City Council meeting minutes from Monday, February 3rd, 2025.
So moved.
Councilor DeWall made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor Johnson. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion passes. Also looking for a motion to approve the City Council and Police Civil Service Commission meeting minutes from February 3rd, 2025.
So moved.
Councilor Peterson made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor Benson. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion passes. Looking for a motion to approve tonight's agenda. Before making that motion, I would like to add 1B under communications. Hilltop Securities Municipal Commentary, and also under 6H Legislative Agenda. With those changes, I'll entertain a motion to approve tonight's agenda. I'll make that motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor Johnson. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion passes. That brings us to the comment and suggestion period of the meeting. The comment and suggestion period of this meeting is when the City Council offers a time for everyone in attendance or watching from home to address the City Council. Once we move on from the public comment and suggestion period of the meeting, members of the public will no longer be allowed to address the council unless the mayor acknowledges you. As a general rule, the council will listen to all comments but are not required to comment on or respond to any comments made by speakers. If you'd like to address the City Council during the public comment and suggestion period of the meeting, please come forward to the podium or dial 218-628-6268. Before you begin, please state your name and address for the meeting minutes. Comments will be limited to 3 minutes. Anyone addressing the City Council will be prohibited from using obscene, profane, or threatening language or boisterous conduct that disrupts the meeting or the security of the public. Is there anyone at this time that is interested in participating in the public comment and suggestion period of the meeting? If so, please come forward to the podium or dial 218-628-6268. We'll give that about a minute. Hearing none, we'll move on. Looking for a motion to approve tonight's consent agenda, including that additional of 1B.
So moved.
Councilor DeWall made the motion. Is there a second?
Support.
Support by Councilor Benson. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion passes. That'll bring us to 4A, Clerk Advises Council, Meeting Information Draft. Administrator Rich.
Thank you, Mayor. At the last council meeting, you voted to, or you discussed having department heads come to quarterly meetings, and then you also discussed pre-agenda meetings. So you have in your packet a supplement that will be added, that I'm proposing to add to every council packet on how the public, what they have access to. They can come to the pre-agenda meeting, but it won't be broadcast. And then what the remote access to the council meetings are, and then a draft of just some minor changes in your agenda. They're outlined in red. The question that I have for you is, do you want your department heads to come to the regular meeting, or do you want them to come to the pre-agenda meeting?
My original thought was,
I think that would be easier on the department.
and then, of course, they're always welcome. I have one question, speaking with one of the department heads after our public safety meeting today. March 1st, or the first meeting in March, we're implementing this, is that correct?
Correct.
We're not requiring all department heads to attend that meeting. Are we gonna put out a schedule where, I think Chief Helquist would like to be one of the first ones to come in because he had some things he wanted to update council on, if
Okay.
we could make that a
Yeah.
priority.
My thought was that we would rotate them.
And I think that's best to save everybody a little bit of time and we're not overloading our pre-agenda meetings in.
Okay.
Chief, thoughts on that? Same?
I would like to go too, because I'd like to do the annual report next
So maybe what were you thinking, 2 at a time? Or so maybe those, chief of fire, chief of police on the first one?
Okay.
Does that work with council?
I would just leave it open that it's something, because we never know what's going to come up. Obviously, there could be more than 2, but we're going to start with a schedule of that. You know, if there's something that just can't wait, I don't want them not to be able to come either.
Yeah. No, and that's a good point, Counselor. Again, they're always welcome to come to the council or pre-agenda meetings if they would like. Any other discussion on that? Hearing none, we'll move on to were you done, Administrator Rich? I'm sorry.
I think
With-
I have.
With 4A?
Yeah,
Okay.
thanks.
We'll move on to 4B, Munger Trail Connection Route. Administrator Rich.
So some time ago, Proctor underwent a master trail study and plan with the city of Hermantown. It involved the Metropolitan Interstate Council. Since then, we've picked up that plan again, and as funding is becoming available, and it seems like the Munger Trail Spur is picking up some momentum. And so we've had the engineers and city staff look at that master trail plan, and with regulations that have changed in trails and the funding that follow them, that original trail plan came in north of Proctor, came through Proctor, tried to cross Highway 2 at 2nd Street, and then go into the park. And as we've been looking at the plan, that crossing in downtown Proctor is it's really, really difficult. And it's difficult to get a trail large enough through our existing right-of-ways that we can receive funding for it. So in the process, we started looking at alternative routes. An alternative route was proposed to the Parks Committee, which they approved. They put their stamp of approval on it. However, if we are to go for funding, we would need an amendment from the Metropolitan Interstate Council. We need a plan amendment. My question to you is how you want to proceed with that, if you're in support of that, if you want to do a public hearing process, getting input on a trail route. The trail that was originally put on paper is, the more and more we work with it, it's not feasible in practice. So what we have looked at a trail that would come from Hermantown through the fairgrounds on the eastern edge of the fairgrounds, a little bit in Duluth, and then connect up to the power line, cross Highway 2 at Boundary, and then come into our park from Alice Street. Would you like to be a part of a process for updating that trail, or would you entrust it with the Parks Committee?
Council? What would it entail if we're going into the city of Duluth a little bit? Is there something we need to do with that aspect of it?
We would definitely need to get them in partnership with the Munger Trail Spur project. And the reason why this is coming to a head right now is with MnDOT redoing Highway 2, a resurfacing project in 2027, if we can get an amendment passed and get that new trail route approved, they can do some work for that crossing now with this project in 2027.
And my opinion, I'm okay leaving it in the hands of the Parks and Trail Committee. That's what they're there for. Obviously, I'd like council to be kept up to speed on what those designs and plans are. But if we have a standing committee out there working on this and has been working on it, I wouldn't be opposed to letting them run with it and bringing it forward to the MIC and working with MnDOT to get this looked at and finalized, and then the partnership with Duluth. But what's council's thought on that?
I would echo that. I would like to see the final recommendation from that group. I don't think I need to be a part of the group, but I would like definitely see the final recommendation. Also, it seems like in years past, we've always run into issues connecting to Hermantown. I would be more in favor, if we can do that, great, but I don't want that to be the focus. The focus, I think, needs to be from Proctor to the Munger Trail. And we had looked at that. Because it gets quite complicated, and Hermantown decided to connect to Duluth to the Munger Trail without going through us. So if we can figure out how to get from the heart of our city to the Munger Trail, or at least they can come up to the city. I just know there was a roadblock.
They're not connected to the Munger Trail, are they? I think we're the missing link for them to be connected to.
They connected through Duluth, going down Piedmont, and
No, they didn't.
because they did a bunch of trails through Ingwall's, blacktop trails.
But I don't think it's connected to the actual Munger Trail. Because I know at the MIC meetings that we're the missing link for that connection piece.
And and I agree with you, Councilor Doyle, we need to look at both ends, but Hermantown is moving faster on their connection to Proctor than what we can move to the Munger Trail. So it does have, we'll look at both of them, but it has to be and Mick is going to ask for a master trail plan, and so we'll tackle both of those at the same time.
And it's my understanding, I could be wrong on that, but there's more funding availability connecting both sides of that, right? Hermantown and the Munger to our trail system.
Yep.
That has been the focus, Mr. Mayor, for decades. And I don't mind the committee looking at it, but it would be nice if there would be some sort of public notice so the community knows that that was going to be on their agenda. So not a public hearing, kind of a quasi-public hearing, but I think that would be helpful.
Any other input, council? No? Does that help you?
Yes, thank you.
Awesome. No other discussion? Hearing none, we'll move on to 6A, Ordinance 03-25, Local Sales and Use Tax. This will be the second reading. In your packet is ordinance number 03-25. This was on our agenda last meeting, the first reading of it. I don't believe there were any questions, comments, or concerns that were brought forward, so we'll just entertain a motion to approve ordinance 0325, local sales and use tax. I'll make that motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Sent by Councilor Dwall. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion passes. Brings us to 6B, Ordinance 04-25, an ordinance to update Chapter 155 of the Proctor, Minnesota Code of Ordinances, first reading. In your packet again is an Ordinance 04-25, first reading, and an ordinance to update Chapter 155 of the Proctor, Minnesota Code. Is there any discussion on that first reading? Hearing none. If there is any discussion at a future date, questions, concerns, please relay those to Administrator Rich for direction, and we'll have the second reading on our next agenda. Any other discussion on that? Hearing none, we'll move on to 6C. That is Resolution 10-25, declaring surplus equipment, miscellaneous office equipment. In your packet was some pictures of some, I believe this was the chairs and desk and some tables. Looking for a motion to dispose of the current chairs, tables, and desk as they have shown significant wear and tear. Looking for a motion to do so.
So moved. Support.
Counselor Johnson made the motion, Counselor DeWall supports. Any further discussion? Here,
And how will they be disposed?
They're offered to nonprofits first.
Oh, nonprofits first, okay, thank you.
any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Brings us to 6D, Resolution 11-25, declaring surplus sign truck. Again, in your packet is the sign truck where you would like to declare for surplus equipment. It is deemed to be in good condition and suitable for donation to a nonprofit organization. Looking for a motion to approve Resolution 11-25.
Make a motion.
Councilor Peterson made the motion. Is there a second? Councilor Johnson, is that you? Councilor Johnson seconds that. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Brings us to 6E, supplemental letter of agreement, Highway 2 lighting. In your packet again is a supplemental letter of agreement with SEH for Highway 2 lighting for the MnDOT project. Looking for a motion to approve paying half of this, half of the amount of the lights. If you read the memo, MnDOT covers 50% of the lighting, which would be $350,000. They will pay $175,000, and then whatever we decide to do as far as upgrade design, that sort of thing. That $350,000 was just the standard Cobra lighting. So Puck has approved for paying for half of the cost of these lights, and they're looking for the city to pay the other half. Councilor DeWall.
I'll make a motion to accept for discussion.
Councilor DeWall made a motion for discussion. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Seconded by Councilor Peterson. Any further discussion, Councilor DeWall?
This, if I'm correcting, this isn't for the final cost. This is to use our engineering to help aid in preparing an estimate. It was a $10,000 cost, and it was estimated engineering costs, so that we go through a process to get this done before the state comes through on a plan. So it's $10,000 bill to make a plan. And Puck did approve paying half, felt that it'd be good to partner with the city so that we have a good plan running through our downtown.
Thank you for the clarification, Councilor. Any further discussion, Councilor Benson?
Thank you. And I always felt that the central business district would be from 2nd Avenue, Levake, to approximately 6th Street along Highway 2, in that little pie-shaped corridor. So I know it's condensed, so why that condensation? Why the condensing?
I'll add, department head and public safety and Puck discussed it, and it was to further extend it out towards 6th Street. It wasn't just a block and a half. It was to extend it out there, and part of the purpose was as people approach heading east from the west on 2, they don't all of a sudden see lights that this is a town. They would see it around 6th Street, they'd start seeing. So there was discussions of that with our street department. Also spacing, because they're too close, hard to remove snow. So I believe that will answer your question on that, Councilor Benson, once they get a plan.
So once there is a plan,
It would then come back.
go to, okay. Thank you.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Brings us to 6F, Hoghead Festival Fireworks Contract. In your packet again is the contract for the fireworks that we host every Hoghead season. As you can see, the price increased about $877. Just looking for a motion to approve the fireworks contract.
I'll make a motion for discussion.
Councilor DeWall made a motion for discussion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor Benson. Any further discussion? Councilor DeWall.
Just wondering, Administrator Rich, did we increase our budget for this? I know in years past, we've worked with Chamber, and they would kick some dollars, to help offset. We were right around $5 or $6 grand. and then they would kick a couple of grand to us. I don't know how active our chamber is, but do we have enough money budgeted to cover the additional costs?
We do.
Okay.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Counselor Benson?
Then I do apologize for not having asked this or alerted you earlier, but is there any idea on how many shells the money would buy?
Unless it's in the contract, no, I
Okay.
do not know.
I didn't see it, that doesn't mean it wasn't there.
And I'm trying to reflect the email chain, Counselor Benson, but I thought it was going to be similar as last year's show.
Yeah, they usually try to keep it similar, and it's right around 1,600, but I didn't know if they were increasing the cost, but reducing the number of shells as well.
No, I don't think so. From the email chain that I was a part of, it sounded like he was keeping things pretty similar to years past.
Okay, thank you.
Any other discussion on that?
For discussion purposes, I just want to bring this up because my wife actually talked to me about it. And have we ever looked into the drone fireworks?
So you talked to me about this the other day, and they are cool. They are really cool. I was doing some research on Google, so take it for what it's worth, right? But they said for a drone show, you need a minimum of 50 drones. That would be the smallest drone show you could do. And drones range in cost between $400 to $800 per drone. So at 50 drones at the low end of that, at $400, we're looking at $20,000.
Oh,
So it's going to be quite a bit pricier. I know you did have an example of a community in Wisconsin, I think you said, and I couldn't find that one, but you told me it was
it was the $10,000 to $15,000, but I think, I just,
they are cool. It is neat, very neat. And maybe it's something we can look at down the road. But no, thanks for bringing it to my attention. I've never heard of such a thing.
I actually saw the one last year, my wife and I, we were at a restaurant downtown, and it happened right outside of the window of the restaurant we were at. But it was a very windy night, and they had 100 drones, we found out the next day in the paper, and like 12 of them ended up in Lake Superior.
Oh, really? Oh, wow. All right, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Brings us to 6G, Speedway Agreement. Again, in your packet was the Lakehead Racing Association lease agreement between Lakehead Racing Association and the City of Proctor. Looking for a motion to approve that agreement. And I'll make a motion to approve that agreement. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor DeWall. Any further discussion? I just want to, oh, Councilor Benson, go ahead.
I was just going to say, once the agreement gets approved, maybe we could change the location of the racetrack from Duluth to Proctor on their website.
That would be a good call. Thank you. And I guess my question, just for the record, Administrator Rich, I know I asked you prior to the meeting, but all parties were good with the current agreement as presented?
Yeah, we met multiple times with each organization to work out an agreement that seems to be manageable between everyone.
Perfect. Thank you. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Brings us to 6H, Legislative Agenda. Councilor Benson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And I have a couple of things, and I do apologize for not getting them on. I broke my back, so the last 3 weeks have been touchy. But going back to the trails, since February 10th, there's been at least 7 bills introduced in the House for trails in other communities. And a fun fact, there was 477 bills introduced on February 13th and 307 on the 17th. And these 7 bills, and I have them, and I'll get them to the administrator so she could send them out, they were all for community regional trails, just what we're looking for. And I thought I would put it on this agenda because I didn't know up until the start of the meeting when the first deadline for having bills in the legislature. Usually it's around the 22nd, but because of the hectic start of the House, there has been no deadline assigned. So, I think it's still a good time to submit a regional Munger Trail extension, depending on how quickly we could activate or do what Administrator Rich had said. So, most of there's one like in Browns Creek and Hardwood Creek Trail, $6 million for 2.25 miles. And then there's the North Shore State Trail. But we'll get that out to the membership later. The municipal cannabis dispensary license, we had discussed that in committee and at the council, and that application period started today. It runs through March 15th, but it requires like a $2,500 application fee and another $2,500 fee if it's approved, non-refundable, another $5,000 to renew it. City would get 10% of the gross tax. And as you may recall in our discussions, the dispensary has to be in a separate building. Number of cities around the state are looking at dispensaries, and locally Grand Rapids, many around the cities. And I think municipal cannabis, not unlike a municipal dispensary, would mean a little bit of a tax break for residents. Don't know what the numbers are. Looking at other cities, and it seems to be around 4% reduction. And given it's a new market, early entry is going to have a huge advantage. We still need to find an appropriate facility. And even if we had one, whether it's a new build or a rebuild, remodel, probably will still take a couple of years. So again, I'll get this into the agenda packet and we could decide how we want to proceed, but the deadline is, I believe, March 15th. Then the other thing I had, and it's just for conversation, just to start thinking about it. Early 2024, the Duluth Preservation Alliance had looked at the Proctor Roundhouse as one of those endangered historical places, along with a handful of others. So I don't know if the city wanted to take any action or do any sort of investigation to preserve that historical landmark, if you will. They did say it faces an uncertain future, and I will also get that into the next packet so you can read this exhaustive note. The last thing is, and I'm not sure if everybody received it, the community project funding request from Representative Stauber. And I know we applied last year or 2 years ago, and we weren't accepted. And I know I asked Representative Stauber's office what was the problem so we could, correct it, address it, and receive no response. So I'm not sure if we have any projects we'd like to consider, but I wanted to throw that out. And I think, Mr. Mayor, Council, that's about it.
Thank you for the update. Any discussion on Councilor Benson's items? I know that Grant ran through Stauber's office. Administrator Rich did receive. I did forward her one. She already had it. So we are looking into that. So we'll see. But I think you've applied for that every year, haven't you?
Last 3 years?
Last 3
Yeah.
years, yeah. So maybe success this time. They say third time's a charm, maybe it's the fourth, who knows? Any other discussion?
No. No.
No? All right.
Not for me, thank you.
All right. Thank you, Counselor. That will bring us to members' concerns. Counselor Peterson.
Yeah, I just wanted to make it known that Blackwoods is back open for lunch, so we should definitely patronize our local businesses, as along with Proctor Pizza's been doing a daily soup for quite a while, so keep the business in Proctor if we can. Thanks.
Thanks, Counselor. Counselor DeWall.
Just one item. If somehow Administrator Rich, I could get a copy of the year-end vacation flex benefit report. By department, by employee, for everyone that gets paid, except for, I think the only one that would be on that report would be the fire department members. That's it.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Johnson.
I have nothing.
Thank you. Counselor Benson.
Well, thank you, Mr. Mayor, when you should ask. This Saturday is the Proctor Snowmobile Challenge. Starts at the Buffalo House at noon. Registration's at 9:30 in Greater Proctor. Also, not to take anything away from Administrator Rich, but both the House and Senate has heard the Proctor infrastructure bill, and it got passed to the next committee. So that's good to see, good to hear. Went first in the Senate and then got the House last week.
Nice. Exciting. Good work on that, everybody. Was that everything, Counselor?
Yes.
Thank
sir.
you. I got a few things, Megan, I'll get you my notes afterwards because I got quite a bit, but just want to congratulate the Proctor High School teams that are participating in state. I know girls Nordic ski team went and the Mirage girls hockey team left town today. The police and fire escorted them out, so that was cool. Congratulations to the Proctor Junior High mathletes who also made a trip to the state tournament. That made front page of the local newspaper, so that was cool. The Reed silent auction went live today, I believe, so visit twinportsbid.com to bid on items. The candlelight dinner will also be held this Friday. Reminder to those that have signed up to attend the elected officials seminar, it's going to be held, I believe, next Saturday. Derek, I believe you're going, but February 28th through the March 1st in Alexandria. So, right? Correct?
No, I'm going this Friday, Saturday to Plymouth.
Oh, you're going to
So
Plymouth,
there's a-
okay, so
there's
there's one in
three.
this one too, my bad. I want to give a big thank you to the Boy Scout Troop 84. They volunteered to shovel out and clear snow away from fire hydrants throughout the city of Proctor, so that was very kind and awesome for them to get out and help the residents out to clear snow and help the fire department out as well. And big congratulations to the Rails Unified Basketball Team for taking second place down at state tournament, so that was really cool to see. A lot of good things happening in our schools and a lot of good things happening in the city, so nice to see. That is all I have. Chief Gatus.
We got a big report for you. Every year, by ordinance, I have to give the annual deer hunt report. So we had 11 people apply for permits to do deer hunting. Only 2 deer were harvested in the city of Proctor over the hunting season, or that were reported. Only 2. And that's historically, that's what the problem is that I don't think we have too much reporting going on. Some years we have 0, and we have, 11 to 15 people that are hunting, and nobody reports anything. This year we did eliminate one area, the 40 acres that the city does own off of St. Louis River Road. That was not an available spot to do deer hunting this past year. So, but that's all I have for that.
Is there something that we need to look at differently if people aren't reporting it? I mean, what?
Every year when Jess takes applications in our department, she's, tells them, and I tell them, if people do not report that they're harvesting deer in town, this program can come to an end.
Yeah.
Because it does take time to sit there and process these permits.
Right.
You know.
I would just also add that I numbers around, deer population is a lot less too this last year.
Oh, correct, but I mean, historically through this program, since I've been here, we've had very little reporting going on with the deer hunters. And it's as simple as calling our office up and saying, hey, I got a deer.
Right,
That's it.
right.
Maybe we should change the philosophy and make them report either way. I didn't get a deer, but, because I do believe that the harvest is down, and part of that is due to just lack of deer
Correct.
in the area. Because I think for the most part, the people that do that are pretty respectful of the hunt. Because even Duluth was down. I don't know if you looked at Duluth's rate,
I haven't seen theirs yet. No.
but it was down, the harvest was down, the reporting was down because the amount of confirmed kills was down.
Yes. No, that's all I have.
Thank you. Questions for Chief on that report? Hearing none, thanks, Chief. Administrator Rich.
I have nothing, Mayor. Thank you.
Jake stole your thunder. All right. Sorry, Counselor Benson stole your thunder. Attorney Hanka.
Nothing for me.
Thank you. With that being said, we'll entertain a motion to pay the bills in the amount of $145,294.88, along with making a motion to pay those bills. I'd also like to include Finance Director Grunfeld's quarterly financial update report and the payroll summary by department, along with the bills. I'll make, Counselor Johnson made the motion to approve those. Is there a second? I'll second that. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion passes. Looking for a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Counselor DeWall made a motion to adjourn. Is there a second? I'll second that. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Oppose? Motion passes. Thank you.